they wore down the Saints. Now, if the Saints, the best run defense in the league, and the Saints, I mean, there's nothing to sneeze about. I mean, the Saints have been playing good defense for a while. And you got grown men over there on that defensive line. I mean, you think about some of the defensive linemen they have, because even their ends, they're just not pure pass rushers. These guys play the run before they rush the passer. So you're running the ball on them like that. Who's going to stop you? If somebody does, you got to show me who it is. Because if they're running for 200 yards against the best run defense in the league,
welcome back, National Football Show, Dan Sileo. You know, when we were talking at the beginning of the year about this football team running the ball, we kept harping on that the whole time. And when they started implementing it, they've started like imposing their will. And it's been something to watch as this team starts to find an identity. By the way, please do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. You guys have been sensational with that. With that being said, you know, we love, not like, our friend Garry Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. And I'm going to start this conversation off with you, Garry, and say this. I'm completely sold here that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback moving forward for this football team. If they're going to have this style of offense and they're going to maintain this 2.0 version of what they're doing in Baltimore, and they're going to win like Steve McNair used to win, he's my guy. What says you?
Hey, they've won everybody over just about. I mean, this has been an amazing transformation. And think about how long it took for them to run the ball. Well, the coach was having them running the ball 7 times, and and then talking after the game, and everybody calling like, hey, Miles Sanders got 2 carries. And to have them develop like this, the thing that is really starting to jump out, is, of course, the outstanding play of the running backs, but the offensive line. My goodness, the New Orleans Saints were giving up 73 yards a game. And, I was talking about before the game is the Eagles had better still run this ball, meaning like, even if you're not having great success, running the ball is going to at least let them open up some things in the passing game. Because I never expected that they were going to put up the kind of yardage that they put up. With a team that's averaging 73 yards a game. And you can see New Orleans, they were talking to themselves. They couldn't believe what was happening. And they just totally put it to them. And then looking at some of the tape, the Eagles' offensive line was whooping butt. I saw Jason Kelce come around the corner one time.
On that sweep, I could second level hit the linebacker, got up. Garry, that is so rare to see. Like guys like Bruce Matthews did that kind of
stuff. That's right. But he laid a lick on that guy, knocked him off his feet, and kept on going, Oh, man, that kind of thing, and the way they got it going on them. And then the way Jalen, ended up ending the whole thing with that cut that he made on them and cut back and took it to the house. I mean, I'll tell you, they've got people worked up, people getting worked up. And, and if you're running the ball like that, I don't care who you're playing. If you're running the ball like that, it's very difficult for a team because how are they going to score without the ball? You know what I mean? And then you're wearing them down too. They wore down the Saints. Now, if the Saints, the best run defense in the league, and the Saints, I mean, there's nothing to sneeze about. I mean, the Saints have been playing good defense for a while. And you got grown men over there on that defensive line. I mean, you think about some of the defensive linemen they have, because even their ends, they're just not pure pass rushers. These guys play the run before they rush the passer. So you're running the ball on them like that. Who's going to stop you? If somebody does, you got to show me who it is. Because if they're running for 200 yards against the best run defense in the league, then that's the way. You got a good quarterback on the other team. You give them a whole lot of time of sitting over there when you're running the ball on somebody like that, because you're eating up the clock. And so that was just an outstanding performance. And the young kid, I know the kid, Landon Dickerson, kid from Alabama, he wants to run the ball, because he's just learning the NFL game, and he doesn't want to pass block all the time. He wants to fire off and hit that guy that's lined up across him, hit him in the mouth. So you're going, you know what, Landon? We're going to do what you want to do. You see that guy? We're going to let you bust that guy that's sitting across from you. Bust him. You could talk to him the whole game. I'm going to hit you in the mouth all day. And, the defensive linemen don't like it, because I played with a guy in Detroit. His name was Bubba Baker. Now he made his money based on sacks. He didn't make his money on making tackles to running backs. That's not the way they paid him. If he led the league in sacks, he had bonus and things. So he used to tell me, he said, Cobb, 1,000 tackles equal 1 sack. And he told me I could have all his tackles.
Hey, Gary, I love Bubba.
Yeah, but that's the way. You make those guys saying, "Look, you guys aren't getting these sacks today because we're running the ball on you all day." But it's just a beautiful thing, and you can see where the whole team, they believe, they got something going, and it's from where they come in this season. It's really amazing transformation.
How about this, Gary? Like you said, 242 yards on 50 carries and a Dennis Allen defense. If you go back the last 3 games now with the Buccaneers in their own division, they've annihilated the Buccaneers in regular season play. The Bucs, they shut them down here.
Yeah.
You're talking 50 carries, 252 with the best run defense in the NFL, and they just manned up and just knocked them off the ball. Has it not become infectious now on the other side of the ball? Jonathan Gannon blitzing more disguises. You're seeing Fletcher Cox show up. I mean, big play Slay. Hey, your former place. You got to give it to Howie a little bit. He makes the trade and he gets Slay, brings him over. I mean, it looks like to me the organization and the team, they're buying into what's going on. Am I right?
Most definitely. And they, like they hadn't won a game at home. This is the first game they won at home. And I'll tell you, the city of Philadelphia, the fans here, they love physical football. They love it. And so, these guys that have to go, they got to go do some work, the kind of people that get their hands dirty, let's say they're working on a car, they're building a house. These guys are working. They appreciate good old-fashioned work. And they see the way these guys are working. They see that defense starting to pound people, you get in there, you're hitting the quarterback. They send the blitz. The quarterback's trying to get rid of it, and he still gets hit upside the head. These type of things, they love that here, and this team is starting to play that way. And just that, like I said, the whole thing, the way this has happened, especially early in the season, you're going like, there's no way this is the same team. Somebody would come and say, I want all those guys to, I want to get a police officer or some kind of detective in here to interview every one of these guys.
Fingerprints.
This is not the same team that was playing earlier.
Fingerprints. Let's get them.
That's right. Fingerprints. Because you're going like, this is not the same team. This is amazing. And the way they're going, man, it's really, and you know what? They're enjoying it. And the fans are enjoying it. And this is the way, I mean, when you talk football, this is the kind of stuff you like. But they are getting after people. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because to keep them out of the playoffs, I'm going to be interested to see who does it and how they do it, because they're starting to smell it, And
they don't got the Giants and Jets in the next 2 games. I mean, You could be 7-6 in 3 weeks.
They're most definitely, if they keep playing the way they're playing, and I like I said, these guys come up to the line of scrimmage, and they're going, hey, we're coming after you guys. We're not here to make friends. I don't even want to know you. I don't even want to know your name, because I'm coming up here because you're not gonna like me when this game is over. And so they're getting after people, boy. And like I said, you look at that whole offensive line with Kelsey. I love that shot he gave the guy. I'm going like, man, you almost felt sorry for the poor linebacker. He was engaged and he just got popped.
Hey, Gary, what about the East Side Monster? Just asked the question here. The extension for TJ Edwards. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I thought, I thought it was a great move for them to do something like that, because this kid has really been playing good football. And, everybody's crying about the linebackers, and I was feeling bad about the linebackers going, they're not getting any linebacker play. Well, he's just playing great football, smart football. He's just a intuitive player, and he's got linebacker instincts where he knows, how to drop, looking at the quarterback, reading his eyes when you're playing zone, and he ran under it and picked that ball off, and he's doing a great job in the run defense. He's just really been such a spark for that team. And as I said, you cannot believe this is the same football team that was playing earlier, and they're just on a roll. And like I said, you can see that they're enjoying playing the game, and TJ Edwards really came in playing with some tenacity, and I'm glad he got his money. I mean, that was just great. And you know what? See, the thing that shows is it shows everybody on the team produce, and you get paid. I mean, they signed.
Yeah, Sweat. They got Sweat,
Goddard,
and Mulata, and from the 18 draft. I mean, to me, you and I know this, Gary. When you see an organization like the Steelers are notorious for this, reinvesting in their own roster, and you get on a second contract, every NFL player's dream is to get on that second contract.
Yep.
And when you see these guys now getting into that, I think that also speaks volumes into the drafting and the evaluating process, don't you think? Maddox too, by the way.
No doubt about it. And really, hey, a lot of people have been, getting on Howie and talking about him and the job he has done. He can make some noise now. I mean, you got Dallas Goedert, Mailata, they gave him money. Avonte Maddox, they gave him some money, and to get TJ Edwards. Hey, basic thing is, hey, produce and we pay you. And that's what you want. You want people to know that production means, hey, they get paid and they get rewarded for it. And you want guys that want to go out and they're working hard and they want to go out and produce. But because I enjoyed the game yesterday myself.
Me too.
You're going like, man, this is some good football. And the thing about it too is they're going to learn things from the second half of that game, where when you get that kind of a lead, making sure you hang on to it. And the coach even said he thought he took his foot off the gas pedal, saying he's not going to do that again, because you got a good team. You mess around, let them back in it, now you got a problem. You let them start a little fire, and all of a sudden that fire starts growing out of control. So they're going to learn some things, and that's really been the way this team has been. They've learned. They started off, they were struggling, and they've learned. And I got to give the coach credit, both the head coach, the defensive coordinator, and all of them. They really have learned, and they made adjustments. And that takes humbling. Sometimes you got to be humbled before you admit that there's a problem. But they've admitted there was a problem. They've made changes, and it's been fun to see the way they have progressed. But that was great stuff there yesterday.
Hey, Gary, South Philly Jizzle said this. Did you really like the way that Mulata protected Hurts? And I really love that as well, because to me, you know what that sends? It sends vibes to the rest of the unit that we're all in this together here. And when you and I see those little tiny tea leaves like that, I think that's also maybe something that's been in that locker room that hasn't been in that locker room in 3 years under Doug Peterson is that, you had those little, caverns of guys that were Nick Foles guys and were Carson Wentz guys.
Yeah.
To me, that makes it look like they're all in the same boat together, rowing in the same direction. Is that how you read it too?
See what that means is more than football. See,
yes.
Not just football. Hey, this is my boy here.
Yeah,
you mess with him, you messing with me. And when you got a team playing like that, where you got that kind of chemistry, and you got guys believing in each other, and they're willing to go to battle for each other, and every guy is going to be sitting in the film room looking at that, going like, "Hey, that's what we believe in. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. You start something with one of us, hey, you starting a problem because we're all gonna be in your face." Love it, man. Love it. It really is old-fashioned football. That's what it is. They're like they're turning back the clock.
Oh, no doubt about it there. You mentioned something a couple minutes ago, Gary, about having a lead. Maybe this bleeds into this too. Now that you're starting to see success with the team, you've got to learn how to deal with success too. Now, look, I know there's guys on that team still that are from that Super Bowl team, but there's a lot of guys that aren't on that team from that Super Bowl team. And it's going to take a lot of leadership. And I do think there's leadership, but now it's learning how to win and deal with success, right?
That's right. That's right. Because, they have so many guys that haven't been through that here in the NFL. These guys are learning, and you've got a young head coach, young defensive coordinator. All of them are learning this process, and they're doing it together, and they're being honest. And I can appreciate this where, hey, we mess up something, we stand up and say, hey, I messed that up. You got the head coach go up and say, hey, I screwed up for you guys. That's me. Well, when you do that, you holding everybody else accountable now. So you can go say, hey, such, you got to do better than that. But if you're not admitting that you're making mistakes, see, then you can't do that. So clearly that leadership thing, it's starting. And the older players on the team, you got leaders now. And the guys are going out there, everybody's playing hard and producing. And you got a physical football team, guys that come out and they're battling. And they're in a fight. And they know they're going to be in a fight every week. And they are doing it, man. And this is just some great stuff. And like I said, I know when people talk about football, see, and I'll tell you, I can see the way the people are talking. I was over there at the stadium to see the way the fans were talking coming out of that game. They are loving this thing. It's going to be tough to go in there and beat them because, they're getting that whole physical brand of ball. And it's something about Philly, like I said, though, blue-collar workers, man. These people said, look, I have to work hard for what I get, And so they appreciate that type of a brand of ball.
Gary, I love this, man. I think it's infectious now that.
Yep.
So Sirianni, you think right now, because he started maybe listening to some of the things that people were saying about him and getting an evaluation, hey, let's start running the ball. I mean, it just looks to me he's evolving himself along with Jalen. They're knowing each other. They're getting along. They're respecting each other. I mean, I love what I'm seeing. Like you said, man, this is an old school, bring your lunch pail kind of team and go to work and let's see what happens. Let's go play 60 minutes of football. I want to read you some stats here.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first 15 starts of Lamar Jackson's career, total yards, Lamar Jackson, 4,120. Jalen Hurts, 4,115. Touchdowns, 26 for Lamar, 29 for Jalen.
Wow.
Turnovers, 12 for Lamar, 11 for Jalen. Could it just be that we're watching a 2.0 version of what's going on in Baltimore? Because, Gary, as you and I say, we could sit there and evaluate the Dan Marinos and the Tom Bradys because they're 7-step drop. They see the field. They do this and that. It's another thing to try to dissect something like this because it's uncommon in how he's winning and the way he's winning. Not the greatest completion. He has to work on his deep throws, obviously. But Brady had to work on his deep throws here. So, I mean, we're seeing a little version here of Lamar Jackson, aren't we?
it definitely is something unusual in the NFL. You know, we know Lamar Jackson was unusual for to have a quarterback, you know, just about leading your team in rushing. I'm talking about good rushing team. And to have him gaining all that yardage and being a playmaker, it's unorthodox. It's unusual. Now people don't say anything about Lamar Jackson doing that. You know, he comes out, he's run for 90 yards, he's thrown for 200 yards. Nobody says anything anymore. And I guess we're gonna have to start doing that about Jalen Hurts because he's gonna run for nearly 100 yards on you, and then he's gonna throw for 200, a couple of 100 yards on you, and he's electric. And he definitely is doing that. And I tell you, he is he's won me over because you're not used to seeing it done this way. So you're used to the back, the classic in the pocket passer and everything, and you don't think that they can be consistent. But this is consistent. I'm looking at the tape and look at the holes and look at the indecisive play of the New Orleans defense.
Yeah.
They didn't know what hit them because, they're running options on him. And when the guy closes, he goes outside. And now he's around the corner, and you can see the frustration with them is they didn't really know what they were doing. And they got a chance to get ready for this team. They got hit from every way, and they still, if they were playing today, they still couldn't stop them. So this is a new version of quarterbacking, and he's being successful. And so I guess you're going to have to say, you got it on the head. This is a different version of Lamar. That's what you got here. And with what he can do, I mean, how many times does he beat the guy who's trying to keep contained and he gets outside of him? How many times? When the guy tries to close down, when he stays outside, he's opening up a big hole and they're running through that. So now, they're going to the coach. What do you want me to do, coach? I try to stay outside. I'm trying to keep contained. You want me to keep contained and also close, coach? I can't do both. And they're putting people in a tough situation. And I know Lamar has had people probably, guys going back and the defensive coordinators over there trying to draw up a scheme during the game or something. That's what they have. I mean, think about that, the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans. He's got the number one rush defense. He looks on the thing at halftime. What did they have?
150 yards rushing on a Dennis Allen defense.
And they took the foot off of the gas pedal, really, because they could have run them out of the stadium.
Yes.
So how do you, if you're a defensive coordinator, you're going like, what? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so, and see, Jalen, he's faster than everybody assumes because he's got a long stride. And then he's so strong in his lower body that he runs through those little, you try to grab him with your arm, he's running through that. If you don't get his body, you're not tackling him. He's just going to get outside on you. And that's what has been happening. And then the way, when you're thinking about that, and you got guys that he freezes when they're running, they were running the RPO, and you could see the linebacker. The New Orleans linebacker on that play that we were talking about when Kelsey came around there, he's looking at Jalen because he's not sure Jalen doesn't have the ball because he's trying to get in the middle of the pass play that he could throw. So they're in a tough situation. And then I tell you, and the Saints, you could see even after the game, you see their body language that they still don't know what happened. They were completely offense. So
they were completely under heels. I want to finish with this too, and now it's looking like the pick that they traded for when they came to the Wentz deal is going to be the sixth as of today, Gary. It'll be the 16th pick in the upcoming April draft. And the one thing that I'm going to say to you about Wentz's play, he's on pace for 3,700 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 97% quarterback rating here. I think one thing is for sure that Frank is trying to do and it proved it against the Bills. They ran the Bills out of the building with that kid, Jonathan Taylor, too.
Yes, they
did. I'll say this. He threw for less than 200 yards. I think that's the one thing that Frank is really convinced. I spoke with Frank today. He's just making him not make the mistakes and those glaring ones that like he made against the Titans. But I think that's the one thing that Jalen does better than what Carson ever did and maybe ever will do. He stays away from the big mistake. Is that fair?
That's right. He knows the importance of taking care of the football. That's one thing he definitely does. Is, and really he's just a coachable kid.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you can see about them because, you look at how, come on, how many games has the kid played? I mean, the kid hasn't played that many games.
15.
And you see the progress he's made in that shorter period of time. So he knows about taking care of the football and making sure you got plus plays and, not making the mistake, those big mistakes where you're just taking gambles, He's not a big gambler. The kid probably saves his money too in real life. The kid is not a gambler, He's just not one of those type of guys. So, it's going to be interesting. This is really going to be a very interesting year, especially when people sit back and look at the way this whole thing started and the frustration that everybody was having and what that is developing and everything. It's just really been just a lot of fun. And, there's something about when you're not expecting a lot and then things start developing. It's really, really sweet. And, I'm just glad to see you. Like I said, when I was over there at the game there, to see the fans enjoying the game. They're really enjoying this team because this is a lot of folks. This is a group that's out there working hard, playing hard, and they're just a good group that very tight, team oriented. Because when you're not playing well like that and everybody's coming out on them, see them now. They got a tight group. It's going to be fun to see how this thing goes the rest of the way.
Finally, here, do you believe that this is a football team that has playoff talent on it?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I think that, a lot of the things that they are very strong in is starting to come out more and more, like, the offensive line. We'll see more things you see with the defense where you see them able to, blitzing on third down and making the other team give that ball up and getting off the field and everything. That's winning football, man. That's the type of winning football that you really appreciate. And you come in and you playing a team like that. It's tough, because what's getting ready to happen. The weather's going to start getting bad. So teams that throw the ball every play, and you got there and you're grinding on them, you got a team. That's right. And you got a team that's grinding on you. So this is gonna be a lot of fun, boy. This is one that a lot of people will really cherish because, as I said, for part of the way through the season, people weren't expecting much, and now they're really happy about what they're getting out of this football team.
No question about it, Gary. Great stuff as always, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this. We'll catch you next week, my friend.
Sounds good.
You got it. Garry Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. You'll take a brief time out. We'll get back to you. I want to reset that question. After listening to Gary and me, Howie Roseman, Executive of the Year? We'll hit on that next here on the National Football Show.